The lecture hall buzzed with nervous energy as Professor Zexthak's multiple eye stalks swept across the assembled students. The advanced xenobiology class at the Galactic Military Academy had drawn representatives from 17 different species, all eager to learn about their newest and most concerning addition to the galactic community. Today we study the termination protocols for species 2847H, the professor announced, his chitinous exoskeleton clicking as he gestured toward the holographic display. Colloquially known as humans. In the back corner of the amphitheater, Lieutenant Marcus Chen sat perfectly still, his human features hidden beneath the standard-issue environmental suit that all oxygen breathers wore in mixed-atmosphere facilities. The Academy's integration protocols required that students of all species attend cross-cultural military briefings, but Chen doubted anyone expected the subject species to actually be present during their own termination protocols lecture. First, Professor Zexthak continued, manipulating the hologram to show a rotating human figure. Observe their obvious vulnerabilities. Single heart, centrally located. Destroy this organ, and death follows within moments. The Vrex student in the third row raised a scaly appendage. Professor, what about their redundant systems? The files mention minimal redundancy. Zexthak dismissed with a wave. Unlike civilized species, humans lack backup organs. One heart, two lungs that must both function, single liver, single brain. They are remarkably fragile. Chen's jaw tightened, but he remained silent. Around him, students scribbled notes on their various recording devices. Their skeleton, the professor continued, is internal and rigid. Shatter key bones, femur, spine, skull, and they become immobilized. Their calcium-based structure is particularly vulnerable to sonic disruption. A properly calibrated sound weapon can liquefy their bones within seconds. A gaseous student in a containment suit bubbled a question. What of their defensive capabilities? Laughably primitive, Zexthak replied. No natural armor, no venom, no electromagnetic discharge abilities. Their teeth are flat and weak, designed only for processing plant matter. Their claws are soft keratin, incapable of penetrating even the thinnest protective membrane. The hologram shifted to display human musculature. Their strength is pathetic by galactic standards. The average human can lift perhaps 1.5 times their body weight. Compare this to a Corvan, who can lift 60 times their mass, or an Altarian, who can manipulate gravitational fields. A student near the front, some kind of crystalline being, chimed in with a sound like wind through caves. What about their reported durability? Professor Zexthak's eye stalks curled in what Chen recognized as the Zephyrian equivalent of a dismissive laugh. Propaganda mostly? Yes, they can survive in varied atmospheric conditions, but only within a narrow range. Too hot, too cold. Wrong. Gas mixture. They die quickly. They require constant hydration, regular feeding, and precisely controlled temperature. They are maintenance-heavy creatures, poorly adapted for anything beyond their single world. The simplest termination method, Zexthak concluded, is atmospheric adjustment. Reduce oxygen below 18%, and they lose consciousness within minutes. Alternatively, any of the common galactic toxins will overwhelm their primitive filtration organs. The lecture continued for another hour, covering human sleep cycles. 8 hours of complete vulnerability daily, their limited sensory range, cannot see beyond a narrow spectrum, deaf to most useful frequencies, and their emotional instability, prone to panic, easily manipulated through fear. As the class began to disperse, Chen finally stood. He removed his helmet, revealing distinctly human features, and cleared his throat. "Excuse me, Professor." The lecture hall fell silent. Professor Zexthak's eye stalks snapped toward Chen, pupils dilating in surprise. "I couldn't help but notice a few inaccuracies in your presentation." Chen walked down the steps slowly, his boots echoing in the sudden quiet. You mentioned our single heart. True, but you failed to note that human cardiac muscle can continue functioning for hours even after clinical death. We have documented cases of humans surviving 30 minutes or more without a heartbeat. He paused at the hologram, manipulating the controls with practiced ease. You mentioned our fragile bones. Also true, compared to some species. But human bone is self-repairing. We're the only known species that becomes physically stronger in response to damage. Break a human bone, and it heals back stronger than before. The display shifted to show human cellular structure. You called us maintenance heavy, yet humans are the only species that has colonized environments from Arctic ice to volcanic deserts to the vacuum of space itself. We adapt. It's what we do. A Corvin student, one of the physically powerful species the professor had mentioned, shifted nervously in his reinforced seat. Chen smiled, and somehow that expression sent chills through several species equivalent of spines. But here's what you really missed, Professor. You taught them how to kill a human who's standing still, unaware, and defenseless. You never mentioned what happens when a human decides to kill back. He gestured to the hologram again. These primitive hands? They've created weapons that can crack planets. This weak brain? It's the reason humans went from stone tools to galactic travel in 10,000 years. Other species took millions. The room was dead quiet now. Those emotional instabilities you mentioned? They're not weaknesses. They're features. A human protecting something they love doesn't feel pain the same way. Fear makes them faster, stronger, more dangerous. And anger? Chen's smile widened. Anger makes them creative. He looked directly at Professor Zexthak. You want to know how to kill a human, Professor? The answer is simple. You better make sure you kill them fast, and you better make sure you kill them all. Because if even one survives, they'll spend every waking moment figuring out how to return the favor. And humans are very, very good at learning from their mistakes. Chen put his helmet back on. Class dismissed. Oh, and Professor, next time you want to lecture about human termination protocols, you might want to check your enrollment roster first. As he walked toward the exit, Chen could hear the frantic scratching and clicking of students deleting their notes. In the galactic community, there were predators and prey, conquerors and conquered, and then there were humans. The distinction, Chen reflected, was becoming increasingly important for the galaxy to understand.